The first alien message ever received by humanity came at 3:47 a.m. On a Tuesday morning, Dr. Sarah Chen was drinking her 5th cup of coffee in the Deep Space Monitoring Station when the computers started screaming. Every screen in the facility lit up red. Every speaker crackled with static that slowly formed into something that sounded almost like music. Sarah dropped her coffee mug. It shattered on the floor, but she did not notice. She had been listening to space for 15 years, hoping to hear something other than the empty silence between stars. Now something was finally talking back. The signal was coming from the direction of the Kepler system. 47 light-years away, it was strong, much stronger than anything humans could send that far. Whatever was broadcasting this message had technology far beyond what Earth possessed. Sarah called her supervisor, Dr. Marcus Webb. He arrived 20 minutes later, still wearing his pajamas under his lab coat. Other scientists began showing up as word spread through the facility. Soon, the small monitoring station was crowded with people staring at screens. Full of data they could barely understand, the signal was not random noise. It had patterns, repetitions, mathematical sequences. It was definitely a message from intelligent beings. But what were they trying to say? Dr. Webb called Earth Command immediately. Within hours, the world's best linguists, mathematicians, and computer scientists were working to decode the alien transmission. The message played over and over in laboratories across Earth. Teams worked around the clock, drinking coffee and arguing about what each sound might mean. Captain Elena Vasquez first heard about the alien signal while she was inspecting her ship, the Prometheus. The Prometheus was Earth's most advanced spacecraft, built in secret over 10 years. It could travel faster than any other human ship and carried weapons that officially did not exist. Elena commanded a crew of 67 people, all sworn to secrecy about their mission. Elena was in the engine room when her communication officer, Lieutenant Torres, found her. His face was pale and excited. "Captain, you need to see this," Torres said. He handed her a tablet, showing the news reports. "They found aliens, ma'am. Real aliens." Lena read the reports carefully. Earth Command was being very careful about what information they released to the public. They admitted that an alien signal had been detected, but they said very little about what it contained. Alina knew that meant Earth Command was worried. 3 days later, Alina received new orders. The Prometheus was to remain on standby, ready to launch within 6 hours' notice. Naina's crew was restricted to the base. No one could leave. No one could make outside calls. Whatever was happening with the alien signal, Earth Command was preparing for something big. Alina tried to get more information from her contacts in Earth Command, but everyone was being secretive. Admiral Hayes, who usually told Alina everything, would only say that the situation was developing and that she should be ready for anything. On the 5th day, everything changed. Dr. Chen made a breakthrough in decoding the alien message. She discovered that parts of the signal contained mathematical concepts that humans recognized. Using these as a starting point, she began to understand the structure of the alien language. The first word she decoded was a number, then came more numbers, coordinates in three-dimensional space. The aliens were telling anyone who listened exactly where they were located. But as Dr. Chen decoded more of the message, she realized this was not a greeting or an invitation to talk. The aliens were asking for help. The message was a distress call. Dr. Chen worked for 18 hours straight, translating piece by piece. The story that emerged was terrifying. The aliens called themselves the Zephyrians. They lived in a large empire spread across many star systems. But something was attacking them, something they called the Devourers. The Devourers moved from system to system, destroying everything in their path. They consumed entire planets, leaving nothing behind but empty space. The Zephyrian Empire had tried to fight them, but their weapons were useless. Their fleets were destroyed. Their colonies abandoned. The message contained technical data about the Devourers' ships and weapons. It included tactical information about their attack patterns. Most importantly, it contained a warning. The Devourers were not just attacking the Zephyrians. They were moving toward other parts of the galaxy, including the direction of Earth. The Final part of the message was a desperate plea to any who received this transmission. We are the last survivors of the Zephyrian homeworld. Our empire is fallen. Our fleets are destroyed. The Devourers will reach us in 7 of your days. If there is anyone out there who can help us, please respond. If you cannot help us, then prepare yourselves. The Devourers will come for you next. Learn from our defeat. Do not make our mistakes. When Dr. Chen finished the translation, she sat in silence for a long time. Then she picked up her phone and called Dr. Webb. We need to inform Earth Command immediately, she said. To decide what we're going to do about this, Earth Command's response was swift and clear. Do nothing. The alien civilization was too far away to help, even if Earth wanted to try. Humanity's ships could not travel that distance quickly enough. To make a difference, any attempt to respond would only reveal Earth's location to potentially hostile aliens. The official policy was simple: monitor the situation, learn what they could, and prepare Earth's defenses. But Alina Vasquez disagreed with that policy. Alina had read the translated message dozens of times. She studied the technical data about the Devourers. She looked at the star charts showing their path of destruction. If the aliens were telling the truth, the Devourers would eventually reach Earth's part of the galaxy. The Prometheus was fast enough to reach the alien system. Elena's crew was trained for exactly this kind of mission. It could make a difference, Elena made her decision on a cold Thursday morning. She called her crew together and explained the situation. She told them that Earth's command had ordered them to do nothing while an entire civilization died. I'm going anyway, Elena said. Anyone who wants to come with me is welcome. Anyone who wants to stay behind will face no punishment. This is not an official Earth Command mission. Every single member of her crew volunteered to go. Elena sent one message to Earth Command before she left: Prometheus departing for alien coordinates. We'll maintain radio contact as long as possible. If we don't come back, remember that we tried to do the right thing. Then she ordered her crew to prepare for the longest journey in human history. The Prometheus launched that evening, carrying humanity's first response to an alien distress call. Lena did not know if she was saving a civilization or dooming her own species. She only knew that someone had asked for help, and she could not ignore that call. Behind her, Earth Command scrambled to decide how to respond to her unauthorized mission. Ahead of her lay the unknown dangers of first contact with alien species. But Lena Vasquez was not thinking about politics or procedures. She was thinking about the desperate plea in that alien message and what it meant to be human in a universe full of threats. The stars ahead looked different now. They were no longer just lights in the darkness. They were destinations, battlefields, homes to beings who needed help. Alina set course for the Zephyrian system, carrying humanity into its first war among the stars. The journey to the Zephyrian system took the Prometheus 14 days at maximum speed. For Alina and her crew, those were the longest 2 weeks of their lives. They had no idea what they would find when they arrived. They did not know if the aliens would welcome them or attack them. They did not even know if the aliens would still be alive. Dr. Martinez, the ship's science officer, spent most of the journey studying the alien transmission. She tried to learn more about Zephyrian language and culture. What she discovered made her both excited and worried. The Zephyrians were much older than humanity. Their civilization had existed for thousands of years. They had built cities on dozens of worlds and created technology that humans could barely understand. But they had also lived in peace for so long that they had forgotten how to fight real wars. Lieutenant Torres monitored space around them as they traveled. He searched for any signs of the Devourers or other alien ships. Space between stars was empty and silent. But Torres knew that could change quickly once they reached their destination. Captain Vasquez spent her time planning. She studied every piece of information they had about the Devourers. She looked at their attack patterns, their ship designs, their weapons. What she saw made her stomach turn cold. The Devourers were not just conquerors, they were destroyers. They did not capture planets or enslave populations. They consumed everything completely, leaving dead worlds behind them. Their ships were built for one purpose: total destruction. Alina realized that if the Devourers reached Earth, humanity would face the same fate as the Zephyrians. This was not just about helping aliens anymore. This was about survival. On the 13th day of their journey, Torres detected something on his sensors. There were ships ahead, moving slowly through space. As the Prometheus got closer, they could see that the ships were damaged and barely functioning. Alina ordered her crew to battle stations, but kept their weapons powered down. She did not want to seem threatening to potential allies. She opened communication channels and broadcast a simple message using the mathematical sequences from the original Zephyrian transmission. The response came immediately. The alien ships changed course toward the Prometheus. Alina could see them more clearly now. They were beautiful vessels with smooth curves and surfaces that seemed to glow with their own light. But they were also clearly damaged, with hull breaches and broken sections visible even from a distance. The lead alien ship sent a message. Dr. Martinez worked quickly to translate it. The message was short and desperate. Unknown vessel, identify yourselves. Are you friends or enemies? We have little time. Alina responded with the only Zephyrian words that Dr. Martinez had been able to translate with confidence. We are friends. We received your call for help. We have come. What happened next surprised everyone on the Prometheus. The alien ships suddenly changed formation, surrounding the human vessel. For a moment, Alina thought they were about to be attacked. Then the alien communication channels filled with sounds that Dr. Martinez realized were not words at all. The aliens were singing. The songs were complex harmonies that seemed to express joy, surprise, and desperate hope, all at the same time. Dr. Martinez worked frantically to understand what was happening. After several minutes, she realized that singing was how Zephyrians expressed strong emotions. They were not attacking the Prometheus. They were celebrating. The alien fleet escorted the Prometheus to a space station hidden in an asteroid field. The station was massive, clearly designed to house thousands of beings. But Alina could see that much of it was dark and empty. Whatever population had once lived here was mostly gone. A single alien shuttle approached the Prometheus and requested permission to dock. Alina agreed, though she was nervous about meeting aliens face to face for the first time in human history. The airlock cycled, and Alina got her first look at a Zephyrian. The alien was tall, nearly 7 feet high, with a thin body that seemed to be made of living crystal. Its skin changed color slowly, shifting from blue to green to purple. It had no hair, but its head was crowned with formations that looked like natural crystals. Its eyes were large and completely black, like looking into deep space. The alien spoke. Its voice was like music. Dr. Martinez translated through her computer. I am Commander the Siska of the Zephyrian Defense Force. I welcome you, strange beings, though I do not understand how you came to be here or why you have answered our call. Alina stepped forward. I am Captain Alina Vasquez of the Earthship Prometheus. We received your distress signal and came to help. Commander the Siska's skin shifted to a bright gold color. Dr. Martinez whispered that this seemed to indicate surprise or shock. The alien spoke again. Earth. We do not know of this world. Our records show no intelligent species in this region of space. How did you develop faster than light travel?
How did you decode our language?
Alina explained about Dr. Chin's work and humanity's decision to respond to the distress call. As she spoke, Commander the Siska's skin continued to change colors. Sometimes it was gold with surprise, sometimes red with what seemed to be concern. When Alina finished, Commander the Siska was quiet for a long moment. Then it spoke, and Dr. Martinez's translation made Alina's blood run cold. You should not have come here. The Devourers will arrive in less than 2 days. Your ship is fast, but you cannot escape now. You have doomed yourselves to die with us. Alina asked Commander the Siska to explain the situation more completely. What she learned was worse than she had imagined. The Devourers had already consumed 12 Zephyrian worlds. The space station she was visiting was the last refuge of the Zephyrian people. Only a few thousand aliens remained alive from a civilization that had once numbered in the billions. The Devourer's main fleet was approaching the Zephyrian homeworld. The aliens had tried to evacuate as many people as possible, but their ships were too slow and too few. Most of the population was still on the planet's surface, waiting for certain death. Commander the Siska showed Alina tactical displays of the approaching enemy fleet. Alina stared at the screens in shock. The Devourer Armada contained hundreds of ships, each one larger than anything humanity had ever built. Their weapons could crack planets open like eggs. Their shields could withstand anything the Zephyrians could throw at them. "We have tried everything, Commander," the Ziska said. "Our best weapons barely scratch their hull armor. Our fastest ships cannot escape their pursuit. Our most brilliant leaders cannot find a weakness in their tactics. We are a peaceful people, Captain Vasquez. We have forgotten how to wage war." Alina studied the tactical data carefully. She asked Commander Disiska about Zephyrian military doctrine, their weapons technology, and their battle strategies. What she discovered was that the aliens were absolutely right, had no idea how to fight a war of survival. The Zephyrians fought with honor and fairness. They announced their attacks before launching them. They tried to minimize casualties, even among their enemies. They followed rules of engagement that made sense when fighting other civilized species, but were useless against an enemy that wanted total destruction. Alina realized that the Zephyrians were trying to fight a gentleman's duel against opponents who wanted to commit murder, but Alina had an idea. Humanity had spent thousands of years learning how to fight dirty. Humans had developed weapons and tactics that other species might consider dishonorable or even barbaric. What the Zephyrians saw as flaws in human nature might be exactly what was needed to defeat the Devourers. Alina asked Commander the Ziska to gather all remaining Zephyrian military leaders for a meeting. She wanted to study their technology and their enemy more carefully. If there was going to be a battle, she wanted to make sure it was fought on human terms, not alien ones. Commander the Siska agreed, though its skin showed colors that Dr. Martinez said indicated confusion and concern. The alien was clearly wondering what one small human ship could possibly do against an armada that had destroyed an entire galactic civilization. Alina was wondering the same thing, but she was also thinking about something else. She was thinking about how to get a message back to Earth without the Devourers detecting it, because she was beginning to realize that the Prometheus alone would not be enough to save the Zephyrians. She was going to need help. She was going to need the kind of help that only humanity could provide. She was going to need a war fleet. Alina stood in the communication room of the Prometheus, staring at the quantum transmitter that could send messages across vast distances in minutes instead of years. She had been thinking for 3 hours about what to say to Earth. One wrong word could doom both humanity and the Zephyrians. Commander the Ziska floated beside her, its crystalline body shifting between worried purple and hopeful blue colors. The alien had spent the day showing Alina everything they knew about the Devourers. The information was terrifying, but it had also given Alina an idea. Your people fight like scientists. Alina had told the alien commander earlier. You analyze. You plan, you follow rules. But the Devourers fight like animals. They use fear, surprise, and overwhelming force. To beat them, we need to fight like something worse than animals. Now Alina was ready to make the most important call in human history. She activated the transmitter and chose her target carefully. She was not calling Earth's command or the politicians. She was calling the one person who would understand what needed to be done. The signal reached Earth and found Admiral Chen Wyming in his office at the Hidden Fleet Command. Chen was old now, with gray hair and scars from the resource wars that had nearly destroyed Earth 50 years ago. He had commanded ships in battles where entire cities were burned to ash. He knew what real war looked like. Elena's message was short and direct. Admiral Chen, this is Captain Vasquez of the Prometheus. First contact confirmed. New allies under threat of total genocide. Enemy force consists of approximately 400 ships with planet-killing capability. They will reach human space within 50 years if not stopped. Request immediate tactical support. Time remaining before enemy arrival, 36 hours. Admiral Chen stared at his screen for a full minute after Elena's message ended. Then, he began making phone calls. Within 2 hours, every secret base in the solar system received the same order: prepare for immediate deployment. Ships that officially did not exist began powering up their engines. Weapons that were supposed to be banned by international treaty were loaded into cargo holds. Veterans who had been retired for decades suddenly found themselves recalled to active duty. The human war machine had been sleeping for 50 years, waiting for another conflict that required its full attention. Now it was waking up. Captain Rodriguez received her orders while she was teaching at the Naval Academy. She was told to report to Titan Base immediately and take command of the battleship Ragnarok. She had not seen the Ragnarok in 20 years, but she remembered it well. It was the ship that had ended the resource wars by threatening to crack the moon in half. General Morrison was fishing on a lake in Canada when his phone rang. 6 hours later, he was standing on the bridge of the assault carrier Nemesis watching. His soldiers load weapons that could turn entire continents into glass. Morrison had hoped never to use such weapons again, but he understood the situation. If the aliens were telling the truth, this was not about conquest or politics. This was about survival. Commander Jackson was working in a factory on Mars when the military police found her. She protested that she was retired, that she had served her time, that she just wanted to be left alone. But when they explained what was happening, she stopped arguing. Jackson had commanded the stealth destroyer Phantom during the corporate wars. She knew how to make entire fleets disappear without a trace. All across the solar system, the same scene played out dozens of times. Veterans who had tried to forget their past found themselves remembering why they had learned to fight so well. Ships that had been hidden in asteroid fields and deep space storage began moving toward assembly points. The civilian government of Earth tried to stop the mobilization, but Admiral Chen ignored their orders. He had served under 3 different presidents and had seen politicians come and go. He knew that, when faced with real danger, civilians always turned to the military for protection. This time, he was not going to wait for permission. Earth Command sent angry messages demanding explanations, but Chen did not respond. He was too busy coordinating the largest military operation in human history. Every available ship was being prepared for combat. Every weapon that could be mounted on a spacecraft was being loaded and tested. But Chen knew that ships and weapons would not be enough. The enemy had superior numbers and technology. To win this battle, humanity would need to use its greatest advantage: the willingness to do whatever was necessary to survive. Chen called together his most experienced officers and explained the situation. He showed them Elena's tactical data about the Devourers. He explained that this was not a war for territory or resources. This was a war for the right to exist. The aliens fight with honor, Chen told his officers. They follow rules and try to minimize casualties. That is why they are losing. We will not make that mistake. We will use every trick, every dirty tactic, every psychological weapon we have ever developed. We will make the enemy afraid to fight us. The officers understood. They had all fought in wars where honor was a luxury that only the dead could afford. They began planning operations that would have horrified the peaceful Zephyrians, but made perfect sense to humans who had learned to survive in a hostile universe. Meanwhile, Alina was working with Commander the Siska to understand Zephyrian technology. The aliens had weapons and shields that were far more advanced than anything humans possessed, but they used them in predictable ways. Alina realized that human tactics combined with alien technology might give them the edge they needed. "We need to teach your people to fight like humans," Alina told the alien commander. "But first, I need to know everything about your ships and weapons. If my people are coming to help, they will need to work with your technology." Commander the Isiska was hesitant at first. Sharing military technology with unknown aliens went against every protocol in Zephyrian law. But as the alien watched Alina study their tactical displays, it began to understand that this human thought about war very differently than any Zephyrian ever had. Alina did not look for ways to minimize damage or reduce casualties. She looked for weak points to exploit and ways to cause maximum destruction with minimum risk. When she studied the Devourer fleet composition, she did not see an honorable enemy to be fought according to established rules. She saw targets to be eliminated by any means necessary. Your weapons are designed to disable enemy ships, Alina observed.
How?
But disabled ships can be repaired. You need to modify your weapons to completely destroy enemy vessels. There's no survivors. No chance for reinforcement. No possibility of retreat. Commander, the Psy's skin turned a deep red color that Dr. Martinez said indicated shock and horror. Captain Vasquez, such tactics would be considered war crimes by our laws. We do not kill helpless enemies. Alina looked at the alien commander with eyes that were suddenly very cold. Commander, your enemies have already killed billions of your people. They plan to kill the rest. If you want to survive, you need to learn to kill them first, completely and without mercy. The truth of Elena's words was hard to argue with. Devourers had shown no mercy to Zephyrian civilians. They had destroyed entire worlds without offering surrender terms or taking prisoners. They were not fighting a war by civilized rules. They were committing genocide. Commander the Siska made a decision that went against thousands of years of Zephyrian culture. It authorized Alina to modify their weapons and tactics however she thought necessary. The survival of their species was more important than their principles. Alina immediately began working with the Zephyrian engineers to weaponize their technology in ways they had never imagined. She showed them how to turn their medical scanners into weapons that could target enemy life support systems. She demonstrated how their mining equipment could be modified to punch through the heaviest armor. Most importantly, she taught them about fear as a weapon. Zephyrians had never used psychological warfare because they considered it dishonorable. Alina explained that honor was meaningless if everyone who believed in it was dead. As Alina worked with the aliens, she received regular updates from Admiral Chen. The human fleet was assembling faster than anyone had thought possible. Veterans were coming out of retirement. Ships were being pulled out of storage. And weapons that had been banned for decades were being loaded into cargo holds. The message from Chen that arrived on the second day made Alina smile for the first time since leaving Earth, Prometheus. This is Admiral Chen. Human task force consisting of 47 ships departing in 6 hours. Estimated arrival time, 14 hours. Recommend you keep our new allies away from our ships when we arrive. What we are bringing is not designed for diplomacy. Lena showed the message to Commander These. Ska. The alien's skin shifted through several colors before settling on a pale yellow that Dr. Martinez said indicated confusion and concern. Captain Vasquez, 47 ships cannot defeat 400 devourer vessels. Your people are brave to come, but they are flying to their deaths. Alina smiled grimly. Commander, you are thinking about this like a Zephyrian? You are counting ships and calculating odds. But humans do not fight that way. We do not fight fair, and we do not fight clean. When my people arrive, they will not be coming to fight an honorable battle. They will be coming to commit murder on a galactic scale. Commander the Siska did not. The human war fleet arrived at the Zephyrian system like a pack of hungry wolves entering a sheep pasture. Commander the Ziska watched the ships emerge from faster-than-light travel and immediately understood that these vessels were built for one purpose: killing. The human ships were ugly compared to the graceful Zephyrian vessels. They were covered in armor plating, bristling with weapons, and painted in dark colors that seemed to absorb light. They moved in formations that looked chaotic but were actually carefully planned to confuse enemies about their true intentions. Admiral Chin's flagship, the Apocalypse, was the largest human ship commander these Ka had ever seen. It was twice the size of the biggest Zephyrian vessel and looked like it could ram through a planet without slowing down. Weapons pods covered its hull like metal scales, and sensor arrays swept the space around them like the eyes of a predator. Alina received Admiral Chin's first message 30 minutes after the fleet arrived. Prometheus. This is Admiral Chin. We have reviewed your tactical data. Recommend immediate evacuation of all Zephyrian civilians to maximum safe distance. What we are about to do is not suitable for non-combatants to witness. Commander the Siska asked Alina what the Admiral meant. Alina explained that humans had developed ways of fighting that most species found disturbing to watch. The Zephyrians would be safer if they moved their refugee ships far away from the coming battle, as the alien civilians evacuated. Alina met with Admiral Chen aboard the Apocalypse. The Admiral was exactly what Alina had expected. an old man with cold eyes who had seen too many battles and made too many hard decisions. He greeted Alina with respect but wasted no time on pleasantries. "Captain, show me everything you have." "Learned about the enemy," Chen said. Alina presented her analysis of the Devourer fleet. She had spent days studying their formations, their tactics, and their technology. What she had discovered was that the Devourers were powerful, but predictable. They relied on overwhelming force and superior technology. They had never faced an OS, an enemy that fought with deception and cunning. Admiral Chen studied the data carefully. Then he smiled, and Alina felt a chill run down her spine. She had seen that smile before, on the faces of soldiers who enjoyed their work too much. "The enemy has made several mistakes," Chen said. "First, they assume all species fight the same way. Second, they have never encountered weapons designed specifically to cause psychological damage. Third, they believe that superior numbers guarantee victory." Chen explained his battle plan to Alina and Commander the Ziska. The alien's skin turned pale white with what Dr. Martinez said was horror and disbelief. The human plan violated every principle of civilized warfare. Chen intended to use the Zephyrian ships as bait, making the Devourers think they were facing only the same weak resistance they had encountered before. Meanwhile, the human fleet would hide in the asteroid field, using advanced stealth technology to remain invisible. When the Devourers attacked the Zephyrian ships, the humans would strike from ambush. But they would not target the enemy warships first. Instead, they would attack the Devourer, supply ships, medical vessels, and command centers. They would make the enemy fleet helpless before destroying their ability to fight. "This is not honorable combat," Commander the Ziska protested. "You are planning to attack non-combatant vessels." Admiral Chen looked at the alien with no emotion in his eyes. "Commander, your enemy has already destroyed 12 worlds full of non-combatants. Honor is a luxury we cannot afford. Your species can choose to die with dignity, or you can choose to live without it. But you cannot choose both." The Devourer fleet arrived 6 hours later. Lena watched from the bridge of the Prometheus as 400 massive ships emerged from hyperspace. Each Devourer vessel was the size of a small city, covered in weapons that could crack moons. Their hulls were black metal that seemed to eat light. Their engines burned with unnatural fire. The Devourer fleet arranged itself in perfect formation, advancing toward the Zephyrian homeworld like a machine designed for destruction. They broadcast no messages, made no demands for surrender. They simply began moving toward their target with the patience of creatures that had done this many times before. Commander the Ziska led the remaining Zephyrian warships out to meet them. The alien vessels looked tiny compared to the Devourer, armada like insects challenging giants. But they followed Chen's plan. Positioning themselves exactly where the Admiral had instructed, the Devourers opened fire first, sending waves of energy that could have destroyed mountains. The Zephyrian ships scattered, using their superior speed to avoid the worst of the attack. Several alien vessels were damaged, but none were destroyed. They fought back with their own weapons, but their shots barely scratched the Devourer armor too. Any observer, it looked like the same battle that had been fought and lost 12 times before. The Devourers had superior firepower and were slowly overwhelming the desperate defenders. The outcome seemed certain. Then Admiral Chen gave the signal. The human fleet struck like lightning from 3 directions at once. Ships that had been invisible suddenly appeared on the Devourer flanks and rear, firing weapons that no civilized species had ever developed. Captain Rodriguez's battleship Ragnarok targeted the Devourer command ship with a weapon called a reality fracture bomb. The device tore a hole in space-time itself, causing the enemy flagship to simply cease to exist. The massive vessel disappeared without even having time to explode. General Morrison's assault carrier Nemesis launched fighters that carried viral warfare pods. The fighters attacked Devourer medical ships, releasing engineered diseases that spread through their life support systems. Within minutes, entire crews were dying from illnesses that their biology could not fight. Commander Jackson's stealth destroyer Phantom used quantum torpedoes to attack the enemy supply fleet. The torpedoes did not just destroy the supply ships, they converted their matter into energy, creating explosions that consumed everything within a 10-kilometer radius. But the most terrifying human weapon was not technological. It was psychological. Admiral Chen had equipped every human ship with speakers that broadcast sounds specifically designed to cause fear in most known species. The broadcasts included recordings of dying screams, the sound of metal being torn apart, and frequencies that triggered panic responses in alien nervous systems. The Devourer fleet, which had never experienced fear before, suddenly found their crews unable to function properly. Ships collided with each other as panicked pilots lost control. Weapons fired randomly as gunners tried to target enemies that seemed to be everywhere at once. Alina watched the battle from her position near the asteroid field. She understood why Admiral Chen had warned the Zephyrian civilians to stay away. What the humans were doing was not warfare in any traditional sense. It was systematic extermination. The human ships did not fight like honorable warriors. They fought like apex predators hunting prey. They used every dirty trick, every psychological weapon, every piece of technology that had been banned by civilized species. They attacked the wounded, targeted the helpless, and showed no mercy to enemies who tried to surrender. Captain Rodriguez used her ship's tractor beam to grab a damaged Devourer vessel and slam it into 2 other enemy ships, destroying all 3. General Morrison's fighters dive-bombed enemy ships that were already disabled, making sure nothing survived to be repaired later. Commander Jackson's destroyer used holographic projectors to make it appear that hundreds of human ships were attacking. From all directions, the Devourer fleet, which had seemed invincible an hour earlier, began to break apart. Ships tried to retreat, but the humans had positioned vessels to block all escape routes. Other ships attempted to group together for mutual protection. But human weapons turned their formations into death traps. Alina realized that Admiral Chen had not brought a fleet to fight a battle. He had brought an execution squad to carry out a sentence. The Devourers had committed genocide against the Zephyrians. And now humanity was returning the favor with interest. But the battle was not over yet. The largest Devourer ship, a vessel that was bigger than some moons, began powering up a weapon that could destroy planets. Alina could see energy building around its forward sections. Preparing to fire at the Zephyrian homeworld, Admiral Chen saw the same thing. He opened a communication channel to all human ships and gave an order that would haunt Alina for the rest of her life. All vessels, prepare for final assault. Target the enemy superweapon. Use everything we have. No survivors, no mercy, no hesitation. The entire human fleet turned toward the massive Devourer ship like a pack of wolves surrounding a wounded bear. They were about to attempt something that no sane military commander would ever consider: a direct assault on a vessel that outweighed their entire fleet combined. But as Alina watched the human ships accelerate toward certain death, she realized that sanity had nothing to do with it. The humans were not fighting for victory or glory or honor. They were fighting for the right to exist in a universe that wanted to kill them, and they were willing to do anything, sacrifice anything, destroy anything to protect that right. The final assault on the massive Devourer ship began with Captain Elena Vasquez making a decision that would change the course of galactic history. As the human fleet charged toward the enemy's superweapon, Elena realized that conventional attacks would not be enough to stop it in time. The giant Devourer vessel was already charging its planet-killing weapon. Energy readings showed it would fire in less than 10 minutes. Even if the human fleet could destroy the ship, the weapon might still discharge and obliterate the Zephyrian homeworld. Alina looked at her crew aboard the Prometheus. Lieutenant Torres was monitoring enemy communications. Dr. Martinez was tracking the weapon's power buildup. Chief Engineer Santos was pushing their engines beyond safe limits. They were all good people who deserved to go home to Earth and live normal lives. But Alina knew they were not going home. "All crew, this is the captain," Alina announced over the ship's communication system. "I want you to know that serving with you has been the greatest honor of my life. What we do in the next few minutes will determine whether humanity enters the galactic community as protectors or whether we all die as unknown heroes." Alina opened a channel to Admiral Chen. Admiral, I'm going to ram the Prometheus into their weapon system. And my ship's experimental drive will create an explosion that should disable their planet killer. Admiral Chen's voice was calm when he replied, Captain, that's a suicide mission. Your ship will be completely destroyed.
I know.
Sir, but if that weapon fires, millions of Zephyrians will die, and humanity will face the same threat in 50 years. This is the only way to make sure the Devourers never threaten anyone again. Lena did not wait for Admiral Chen's permission. She ordered her crew to prepare for ramming speed and aimed the Prometheus directly at the energy buildup around the enemy weapon. The ship accelerated toward the massive Devourer vessel like a bullet fired at a mountain. The other human ships provided cover, drawing enemy fire away from the Prometheus. Captain Rodriguez's battleship Ragnarok positioned itself between Elena's ship and the heaviest Devourer weapons. General Morrison's fighters swarmed around the enemy vessel, targeting their defensive systems, but it was Commander Jackson's stealth destroyer Phantom that made Elena's mission possible. Jackson used her ship's cloaking technology to make it appear that dozens of human vessels were attacking from all directions. The confused Devourer gunners fired at shadows and illusions while the real threat approached. Undetected, Elena watched the enemy ship grow larger on her screen until it filled her entire view. She could see individual weapon turrets, armor plating, and the massive energy weapon that was almost ready to fire. The Prometheus was now moving so fast that even a small error would send them spinning out of control. 30 seconds to impact, Lieutenant Torres reported. His voice was steady, but Elena could see his hands shaking. All crew brace for impact, Elena ordered. Then she added something that surprised even herself. It has been an honor to serve with you all. Tell Earth what we did here. The Prometheus struck the Devourer weapon system at maximum velocity. Elena's last conscious thought was that the explosion was much bigger than she had expected. The experimental drive of the Prometheus did not just explode. It tore a hole in space-time itself, creating a miniature black hole that lasted for exactly 3 seconds. In those 3 seconds, the massive Devourer ship was pulled apart from the inside. The planet-killing weapon discharged harmlessly into empty space as the vessel that carried it ceased to exist. Admiral Chen watched the explosion from the bridge of the apocalypse. He had seen many brave soldiers die in his long career, but Elena Vasquez's sacrifice was something he would remember for the rest of his life. She had not just saved the Zephyrian homeworld. She had shown the galaxy what humans were willing to do to protect innocent life. The destruction of their largest ship broke the remaining Devourer fleet completely. Ships that had been trying to regroup suddenly found themselves alone and surrounded by enemies who showed no mercy. The human vessels hunted down the survivors with systematic efficiency, making sure that none escaped to threaten other worlds. Commander the Siska watched the final phase of the battle from the Zephyrian command ship. The alien skin shifted through colors that Dr. Martinez had never seen before. When the last Devourer vessel was destroyed, Commander the Siska's entire body began to glow with a soft, golden light. Captain Vasquez saved us all, the alien said to Dr. Martinez. Her sacrifice will be remembered for as long as the Zephyrian people exist. But I must ask you something that troubles me deeply. Dr. Martinez waited for the alien to continue. People fight with a brutality that terrifies me, Commander the Ziska said. You use weapons that we would consider war crimes. You target the helpless and show no mercy to defeated enemies. How do we know that you will not become the next threat we must face? Dr. Martinez thought carefully before answering. Commander, humans are capable of great cruelty when we feel threatened. But we are also capable of great kindness when we feel safe. Captain Vasquez and her crew died to save people they had never met before. That should tell you something about what we truly value. Admiral Chen faced the same question when representatives from other alien civilizations began arriving at the Zephyrian system. Word of the battle had spread across the galaxy with impossible speed. Some aliens came to offer friendship and alliance. Others came to assess whether humanity represented a new threat that needed to be contained. Chen met with delegations from 12 different species over the following days. Some were grateful for humanity's intervention. Others were horrified by the tactics that humans had used. All of them wanted to know the same thing. What did humanity want now that they had demonstrated their military power? Chen's answer was simple and direct. We want to be left alone to live in peace. But if anyone threatens us or our allies, they will discover that what you saw here was only a small demonstration of what humans can do when we are truly angry. The Cathara Empire, which controlled over 100 star systems, sent a fleet to investigate the human presence. Admiral Chen met their ships at the edge of Zephyrian space with a single message. Turn around now, or find out why the Devourers no longer exist. The Cathara fleet turned around. The Mordian collective, which had been expanding aggressively for centuries, suddenly found their border worlds declaring independence and requesting human protection. When Mordian ships moved to reclaim these worlds, they discovered that human advisors had taught the rebels how to fight wars of liberation. The Mordian expansion stopped. Within 6 months, the balance of power in the galaxy had completely shifted. Species that had been aggressive found themselves reconsidering their policies. Civilizations that had been victims found themselves with a powerful ally. And humanity found itself in the position of being the galaxy's unofficial. Peacekeepers. Commander Diasiska was appointed as the first Zephyrian ambassador to Earth. During the journey to the human homeworld, the alien studied everything that humans had shared about their history. What this Ka discovered explained both the brutality and the nobility that humans had shown during the battle. Humans had spent thousands of years fighting each other for resources, territory, and survival. They had developed weapons and tactics that other species found horrifying. They had also developed something else, the ability to sacrifice everything for others, even for strangers they had never met. When the Ziska arrived at Earth and saw the memorial that had been built for Captain Vasquez and her crew, the alien finally understood what made humans so dangerous and so valuable. They were a species that had learned to wage total war, but they chose to use that knowledge to protect the innocent, rather than to conquer the weak. The memorial's inscription read, "To those who answered the call for help from strangers, and paid the ultimate price to save lives they would never know." Their sacrifice reminds us that being human means choosing to do what is right, even when it costs us everything. Admiral Chen stood beside the memorial on the anniversary of the battle. Watching delegations from dozens of alien species lay flowers and other offerings, the galaxy had learned to respect human military power. But more importantly, it had learned to trust human intentions. A young reporter asked Chen if he regretted the brutal tactics that humans had used against the Devourers. The Admiral thought for a moment before answering. "Young man, every weapon we used, every tactic we employed, every life we took was necessary to prevent a genocide. The Devourers had already killed billions of innocent beings and planned to kill billions more. Sometimes the only way to protect the innocent is to become something terrible to those who would harm them." Chen looked up at the stars, where human ships now patrolled trade routes and protected peaceful civilizations from those who would exploit them. "We answered an alien distress call because it was the right thing to do," Chen said. "In return, we gained allies, respect, and a place in the galactic community. But most importantly, we proved to ourselves and to the universe that humanity's greatest strength is not our ability to wage war. It is our willingness to fight for others, even when we have nothing to gain and everything to lose." The reporter asked one final question. What happens now? What role will humanity play in the galaxy?